Imagine a small, foggy island off the northwest coast of Europe, roughly the size of the American state of New Mexico. Its weather is famously unpredictable. Its people were once dismissed as barbarians by the Romans, and yet this tiny nation built the largest empire in human history. At its peak, the British Empire controlled nearly a quarter of the Earth's land surface and ruled over a quarter of the world's population. The sun literally never set on its territories. This is the story of Britain, a tale of astonishing ambition, ruthless conquest, groundbreaking innovation, profound moral contradictions, and enduring legacy. From ancient Celtic tribes fighting Roman legions to Elizabethan explorers challenging the Spanish Armada, from the blood-soaked fields of the English Civil War to the factories of the Industrial Revolution, from the height of Victorian imperial glory to the struggles of two world wars and the peaceful dismantling of empire, Britain's history is nothing short of epic. Whether you are an American fascinated by the roots of your own democracy, or simply someone who loves dramatic stories of rise, fall, and reinvention, this complete history will show you how a small island shaped the modern world in ways that still affect every one of us today. Let's begin at the very beginning. Ancient Britain, from Ice Age to Roman conquest. The story of Britain starts long before recorded history. After the last Ice Age ended around 10,000 BC, hunter-gatherers crossed the land bridge that once connected Britain to continental Europe. As the seas rose, Britain became an island. Neolithic farmers arrived, clearing forests and building monumental structures. Stonehenge, constructed between 3000 and 2000 BC, remains one of the most mysterious achievements of prehistoric Europe. Its massive stones, some weighing over 25 tons, were transported from as far as 150 miles away, a feat that still puzzles archaeologists. By 500 BC, Celtic tribes dominated the island. They were skilled metalworkers, fierce warriors, and had a rich oral culture of myths and Druidic religion. When Julius Caesar launched expeditions in 55 and 54 BC, he encountered determined resistance. Full conquest came later under Emperor Claudius in 43 AD. The Romans brought roads, towns, villas, baths, and Latin culture. Londinium, London, grew into a major trading port. Hadrian's Wall, built in 122 AD, marked the northern limit of Roman control. Roman Britain lasted nearly 400 years. It was prosperous, but also marked by revolts. Most famously, Boudicca's rebellion in 6061 AD, when the Iceni queen nearly destroyed Roman power in the south. When the Western Roman Empire collapsed in the early 5th century, Roman legions withdrew, leaving Britain vulnerable. The Anglo-Saxon period and the Viking Age. Into the power vacuum came the Anglo-Saxons Germanic tribes from what is now Denmark and northern Germany. They gradually took control of much of England, pushing Celtic Britons into Wales, Cornwall, and Scotland. This period gave birth to the English language, and many of the place names we still use today. The legendary King Arthur may represent British resistance to these invaders. By the late 8th century, a new threat arrived: the Vikings. Norse raiders sacked monasteries and coastal settlements. The Great Heathen Army invaded in 865, conquering large parts of England. Alfred the Great of Wessex resisted and eventually forced a peace that divided England into Anglo-Saxon and Viking territories, the Danelaw. His descendants gradually reconquered the Viking areas, creating a more unified kingdom of England by the 10th century. The Norman conquest in medieval England, 1066, 1485. The year 1066 is one of the most important dates in British history. William, Duke of Normandy, claimed the English throne and defeated King Harold Godwinson at the Battle of Hastings. The Norman conquest was brutal but transformative. William introduced feudalism, built hundreds of castles, and commissioned the Domesday Book, an incredibly detailed survey of land and resources. French became the language of the court, while Old English remained the language of the common people. Modern English is a fusion of both. The medieval period saw constant struggles between kings and barons. The signing of Magna Carta in 1215 under King John was a pivotal moment. Forced by rebellious barons, it limited royal power and established principles of due process and law that later influenced the American Constitution and Bill of Rights. The 100 Years' War with France, 1337–1402, 453, produced legendary figures. King Henry V's victory at Agincourt in 1415, against overwhelming odds, became a symbol of English resilience. Meanwhile, the Black Death, 1348-49, killed up to half the population, leading to labor shortages and social upheaval. The Peasants' Revolt of 1381 showed the growing assertiveness of common people. The Wars of the Roses, 1485-1487, a vicious civil war between the rival houses of Lancaster and York, finally ended at Bosworth Field in 1485, when Henry Tudor defeated Richard III. Henry VII founded the Tudor dynasty, bringing stability after decades of chaos. The Tudor dynasty, foundation of modern Britain, 1485-1603. Henry VIII is perhaps the most famous Tudor monarch. Determined to secure a male heir, he broke with the Roman Catholic Church, dissolved the monasteries, and established the Church of England. His reign was marked by religious upheaval, political intrigue, and the strengthening of royal power. His daughter Elizabeth I inherited a religiously divided nation, but became one of England's greatest rulers. The Elizabethan age was a golden era. William Shakespeare wrote many of his greatest plays. English explorers like Sir Francis Drake challenged Spanish dominance. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 was a defining moment, a victory against the greatest naval power of the time that boosted national confidence and opened the way for English overseas expansion. When Elizabeth died in 1603 without heirs, the crown passed to James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England, uniting the crowns, though not yet the kingdoms. The Stuart era, civil war, and constitutional monarchy. The Stuart kings believed strongly in the divine right of kings. Conflicts with Parliament over money, religion, and power led to the English Civil War, 1642-1651. Oliver Cromwell and the Parliamentarian Roundheads defeated the Royalist Cavaliers. In 1649, King Charles I was executed, a shocking event that sent ripples across Europe. Britain briefly became a republic under Cromwell. The monarchy was restored in 1660, but tensions remained. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 was relatively bloodless. Parliament invited William of Orange and Mary II to take the throne, establishing the principle that the monarch rules with parliamentary consent. The Bill of Rights, 1689, further protected liberties. This model of constitutional monarchy became a foundation for modern democratic government, influencing the United States profoundly. The 18th century. Empire, industry, and enlightenment. The 18th century saw Britain win the 7 Years' War, gaining vast territories, including Canada. The Industrial Revolution began in Britain with innovations in textiles, iron, and steam power. James Watt's improved steam engine-powered factories and mines. Canals and later railways transformed transportation. However, growing tensions with the American colonies over taxation without representation led to the American Revolutionary War. Britain's defeat in 1783 was painful, but it learned important lessons about colonial governance and redirected its energies toward Asia and Africa. The Victorian era. The height of empire, 1837-1901. Queen Victoria's reign saw Britain reach the pinnacle of its power. The empire expanded dramatically. India was formally brought under direct crown rule after the 1857 Indian Rebellion. Africa was partitioned. Australia, New Zealand, and Canada grew as settler colonies. British engineers, traders, and administrators spread across the globe. This era brought enormous wealth, but also deep social problems. Child labor, urban poverty, and colonial exploitation were widespread. Yet Britain also led social reforms, expanded voting rights, and played a key role in abolishing the international slave trade. Charles Dickens, the Bronte sisters, and other writers exposed the realities of industrial life. Scientific giants like Charles Darwin revolutionized human thought. The sun never sets on the British Empire was literally true. At its height, the empire was the largest the world had ever seen. The 20th century. Wars, decline, and rebirth. World War I, 1914, 1918, devastated Britain. Nearly 1 million British and Empire soldiers died. The Empire helped secure victory, but the war weakened Britain economically. The interwar period brought economic depression and the rise of new powers. World War II tested the nation's soul. After the fall of France in 1940, Britain stood almost alone against Nazi Germany. The Battle of Britain, the Blitz, and Churchill's leadership became symbols of defiance. With massive American and Soviet support, the Allies prevailed in 1945. Post-war Britain was exhausted. The empire dissolved relatively peacefully as colonies gained independence. India and Pakistan became independent in 1947. Over the following decades, dozens more followed. The British Empire transformed into the Commonwealth, a voluntary association of nations. At home, Britain created the National Health Service, rebuilt bombed cities, and experienced cultural booms in the 1960s with the Beatles and swinging London. Economic challenges in the 1970s gave way to reforms under Margaret Thatcher. In the 1980s, the Falklands War, in 1982, showed Britain could still project military power. Britain in the modern world and its enduring legacy. Today, the United Kingdom remains a major global player. It is a nuclear power, a leading financial center, and a cultural powerhouse. Its contributions to science, literature, music, law, and democracy continue to influence the world. Britain's history is filled with contradictions, incredible achievements alongside dark chapters of exploitation and inequality. Yet its story demonstrates remarkable resilience and adaptability. From a collection of tribes to a global empire, and then to a modern nation, Britain has repeatedly reinvented itself. Its greatest legacy may be the ideas it spread: parliamentary democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, and the English language itself. These gifts, for all their imperfections, helped shape the United States and many other nations around the world. The empire that once ruled half the world may be gone, but its influence remains woven into the fabric of our global civilization. Britain's story is not just the story of an island, it is a vital chapter in the story of humanity itself.